Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hey, how are you?
Fine, sir.
Okay, good, good. All right. Uh, Ritvik, how many years of experience you have?
So in total, it is of 5 years and 10 months.
5 years.
And
Okay,
10 months.
10 months. All right.
And of which 3 years is of cloud experience, and the rest of it is the total experience.
Hmm. All right. Okay. Currently you are working with,
No, no, I am not working anywhere.
you are not working.
Yes.
Okay. So, last company you worked with?
Amdocs.
Okay, in Pune.
Yes.
Okay. What was your last working day?
4th of Feb.
4th Feb. Okay. And like you worked there for any year, okay?
Yes, around 10 months. So
Around.
my project got rolled off. So actually, I was a third party resource there. So my
Mhm.
project got rolled off. So I was hired for cloud migration program.
Okay. And there was no other project which at
So I
that field.
was transferred to BSSC project, but that was not feasible for me. So I go. So they told me that they are going to release me.
Okay. So, where do you put up at the moment?
Dwarka, Delhi.
Dwarka. Okay. All right. So, can you briefly explain me what you do in the last project?
So in my last project, it was a cloud migration program. So in total, actually the client was AT&T. So in total, there were 7,000 applications, in which 4,000 were applications were supposed to be migrated to the Azure cloud. So the AT&T was the client, and there were in total 23 data centers, of which were supposed to be reduced to around 700 for cost reduction purpose. So the
Mm-hmm.
contract was distributed amongst 5 companies. So one was Accenture, one was IBM, one was Amdocs, Microsoft, and one other. So in total, there were around 8 to 9 steps in the migration. So we used to create the resources for the production environment in the Terraform, and then used to migrate those applications to the cloud. So
Mm-hmm.
the process started with the ADO onboarding. So by ADO onboarding, it was a AT&T specific, AT&T proprietary step. So in which
Mm-hmm.
we had to do the various types of entries in their portal, and after that the ADO onboarding was completed, and there was a separate team which used to assign us the applications which were supposed to be migrated. So those applications used to come in our bucket via our team leader, and then after that it was an automated process. So we used to see 2 environments in our Azure portal. One was
Mm-hmm.
DevOps prod, and one was DevOps non-prod. And other than that, we had to create 3 more resources. One was POC, one was non-prod, and one was prod, based on the target architecture of that particular application.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the my project. So there were multiple pods, in which in a single pod there were one onshore and offshore team leader, 4 platform engineer, one database administrator, and various kinds of administrators. So as a
Mm-hmm.
platform engineer, my task was to create the code in the Terraform for the resources, and then
Mm-hmm.
create the resources and do the audio onboarding, and help other engineers if they are stuck somewhere, or take help from them if I am stuck somewhere. So that was an overall project. Other project was the BSSC project, in which I was there around 1 to 1.5 months. So in that was a Amdocs internal product, because Amdocs is a product based company.
Mm-hmm.
So on the daily basis, the QE team, we had a meeting with the QE team. So they used to give us the Word file in which there were various changes mentioned, and we had to do the changes in the Bitbucket code, and then trigger the Jenkins pipeline. But the Jenkins pipelines was triggered manually, not automatically. And after that,
Mm-hmm.
in the Scrum meeting, we used to tell the status, and if there any error was coming, so we our task was to fix that issue, and get that
Mm-hmm.
thing running. Before that, I was working with KMG IT services. So soon after I joined, so initially I was working on the on-prem, but soon after that the cloud was introduced and they had various clients. So whatever the tasks which were required, I used to perform those tasks in cloud, both automated way or in a manual way. So
Mm-hmm.
I got a bit of a learning there, and after that I started giving interviews and joined Amdocs on the payroll of Service Software Private Limited. So that's the overall cloud experience I have.
Okay. Okay. So, uh, you can write the Terraform codes, right?
Yeah, I mean, I had a skeleton code from the golden images, which were provided by the Amdocs only. So
Mm-hmm.
there were two kind of environments. One was Azure 00 and one was Azure 06. So in Azure 06, we had to do the changes in the applications, and in the Azure 00, we had the golden images. So from there, we used to take the skeleton code.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a different style of coding. So in Terraform, what we do is we write code in the single file main.tf, but that was not the case in Amdocs. They had a different file for a different resource. So let's say I have a load balancer. So for the load balancer, they will have a separate file, and in which we will do the various kinds of code. So a bit of it was a AT&T proprietary, I would say.
Mm-hmm. So
Uh,
basically, they have modularized the code, right?
yes, yeah, they have modularized the code, but and
Mm-hmm.
everything was in HVD only. You cannot do. I mean, if you go to the Google and type the Azure portal, so in general it will open, but we had a separate HVD. So in the HVD, when we used to, open the Azure portal, so it opened with the AT&T subscription. So basically, they had their own environment, and everything was modernized and automated in their way, in AT&T specific way.
Mm-hmm. All right. Okay. So let's talk about Terraform and the codes that you are working on, right?
Mhm.
Okay. So on the Terraform, there are the main.tf file, and there are other tf files like variable.tf
Mhm.
and backend.tf, right?
Mhm.
So what is this backend file?
So backend file, so I don't remember as of now. There is a some, I mean, Terraform state file which stores the state. So backend file, so I don't know. State file is there, and if I talk about the variable files, so we use.
What is a state file?
So state file is a file which will store all the state of the Terraform, whatever the changes are being done, current status of the Terraform code on the resources.
All the state of the resources.
Yes.
Can you
So
elaborate?
so
Yeah.
let me elaborate. I had one issue there. So initially I was not aware, so I deleted one load balancer. So the error
Mhm.
started coming, and the error showed some TF state error. So after that I went to the Terraform code, deleted that file, and created all that resource again. So whatever is happening on the Terraform code, basically TF state keeps that state of the file. State means the particular status of anything in generic way. So all the state file are stored in the containers in Azure and S3 in AWS, or respective storage of cloud. Otherwise, Terraform have their own cloud.
So you are saying if I delete a TF state file, it will break the infrastructure.
No, you don't have to delete the TF state file. I mean, if you delete the any resource manually by mistake.
Okay, if you delete a resource manually
Mhm.
and you want to recreate it, so what you will do?
So first of all, I went to the Terraform state. I mean, the container where the file was stored. I had to delete that file and then create that resource all over again. In that way, that issue was fixed.
Okay. So what happened if you directly run the code?
Directly run the code means.
That means you run the Terraform code. You just simply run main.tf file again.
Mm-hmm.
If you delete a resource, you can always go ahead and run the main.tf file.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So what it will do?
So it will whatever the configuration changes, so it will update and create all the resources again. And if
Yes.
there is there any issue in the code, so it will display the error. It's that simple.
Uh, okay. So all right. All right. So if you have deleted the load balancer, you could have again go ahead and run the Terraform code,
Yes,
and it would have it
delete
would have.
I deleted the load balancer manually by mistake.
It doesn't matter even if you deleted the load balancer manually,
Uh,
you can simply go ahead and create the load balancer again
yes,
by running the similar code.
yes.
It will.
I
Mhm,
redeployed the code again. Actually ran the pipeline, and then
mhm.
the issue was fixed.
Okay, so you are running that Terraform code from Azure DevOps pipeline.
Yes, Azure DevOps pipeline, and the main.tf as a whole is not being used. So tf vars file is used for every separate resource. So in the Visual Studio Code, we have the different file for a different kind of particular resource, and if there is any dependency, that will be done using variables.yaml file, which was located at the bottom. So let's say load balancer has a dependency on the VM. So first of all, you
Mhm.
have to delete the particular dependency and then that particular resource. So let's say, we used to face a lot of compliance errors in our production. So hard disk and there was some other dependent files. So first of all, we had to delete, destroy the code for the hard disk and then destroy the VM in case of any error. So that was a very time-taking process.
Okay. All right. So, okay. So, on AWS side, have you worked with pipelines?
So on AWS, I used to work on the pipelines, but that was in back in KMG 1 year before. But yes,
Mm-hmm.
I worked with the AWS in AWS pipeline. And other than that, in AWS, I have more of a manual experience, around 60%, and 40% I have
Mm-hmm.
that automation purpose. Automation experience. So in automation, basically JSON I used more for policies related issues.
Have you ever worked with AppStream?
No.
Okay.
So AppStream is a
Uh,
service or something else?
it's a service.
No, 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 no.
It's AWS. It's basically AppStream as virtualization of a resource, but AWS also offer it as a service. All right. Like Kubernetes, right?
Oh, okay. So Kubernetes
Okay.
is the EKS Elastic Kubernetes service in AWS.
True. And on Azure side, it is a AKS,
AKS.
Azure Kubernetes Service.
Yeah. So BSSC project
Okay.
was deployed all in the AKS only.
Okay. Okay. So you have experience with Kubernetes as well, right?
I have beginner to intermediate experience, but end to end, I never got a chance to deploy.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to do the basic troubleshooting in the Kubernetes in BSSC project, and I was in
Okay.
that project for a very short duration of time.
Okay, so you don't know much about Kubernetes, right?
Yeah, I know, but a lot of things I learned on my own using internet and a little bit of in the companies for in production environments.
Okay. So what is a container?
So a container is, a container is, the entity in which the application is running. So if I talk about the entire hierarchy, so first of all we have a cluster, and in the cluster we have nodes. Inside the nodes we have pods, and in the pods we have containers, and inside the containers the respective applications are running.
Okay.
So this is the structure.
Okay. And what is a node?
Node is a particular machine on which
Mm-hmm.
the Kubernetes is running. A
Okay.
particular client machine, not the master. So Kubernetes runs on the client server architecture. I mean master slave architecture. So the slaves are known as the nodes.
Okay. So there are master nodes and there are worker nodes.
Yes.
So what is the difference between two?
So master node controls entire the basically it's an administration kind of a thing, and the services are being served by the nodes.
Okay. And what is the daemon set?
Daemon set is basically, if I talk about particularly daemon, so daemon is engine which is running the entire service, be it the Docker or be it the Kubernetes. Daemon set exact definition right now I don't remember. Daemon is
Right.
basically, if I talk about the general, so we can imagine a car. So a car as an engine. So the engine of the car is the daemon in generic terms. So daemon set is specifically is used in the Kubernetes, but right now I don't remember. I have read in the Kubernetes documentation, but right now I am unable to recollect.
Okay. And what is namespace?
Namespaces are used to classify the pods. I mean, so if you want that some of the pods should be under production team, some of the pods should go only developers can work on them, so we can classify them.
Okay.
Uh,
What is etcd?
etcd is the configuration file. So etc is also a generic file which always contains all the configurations and of the any particular service. So etc is in Ansible also, in our Windows laptop also, in Kubernetes also. So all the configuration it is stored in the etcd only.
Okay, that's good. Okay. All right. Okay. So on let's go back to AWS side. We have deployed an application on we on a web server. Okay, and that web server is load balanced. So I want to provide a custom URL to the customer. For example, it should be like application or app.contoso.com. So where are we going to create that?
In Route 53 we will create the URL. So if you want to run any website, so for the URL we will get provide through the Route 53, plus we will have to host that website and create an endpoint of the load balancer in the alias set, and then using actually the URL which will be provided by the AWS is I mean it's a weird kind of a URL. So using CNAME we should convert that URL to a sensible URL and then provide to the client.
Okay. Why do you think that is a weird URL?
I mean, let's say if you are actually, I have seen certain like I was using a portal for my resume making. So the storage where it was stored, so in the URL I could see the S3. So from there I came to know that that particular website was using a AWS. So we are not trying to tell to the public. I mean, the technical person will come to know that what our infrastructure is like.
So which record you create in Route 53?
A records. I mean, there are a lot of records. A record, quad A records for IPv6, and the mailing record, MX records, CNAME records. But my experience is of the A records only.
Okay. So what is the difference between A record and a CNAME?
CNAME is basically if you want to convert any URL name from one name to another. So let's say there is a website known as ritvik.com and one is website is the, I mean, I want to convert that to arrow.com. So the name of the URL will change using CNAME, and other one was A. So A name is used to basically map the IP to a particular URL, and that particular IP will be IPv4 address, and for IPv6 we will use quad A, and the reason for that is the IPv6 is a 128 bit, and that is the 4 times of the IPv4 address. That's why.
Mm, okay, but yeah, you are in a bit right, but that's not 100% correct. For example, if you're saying that you get a load balancer URL,
Mhm.
a public load balancer URL, and you are putting it into the Route 53,
Mhm.
and you think that it is a weird, and you are going for a more organized or a structured URL.
Mhm.
So you are creating that, but that is not scening. That is not the purpose of scening. You can simply give the IP of that, and still it will hit the same URL. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So, but it's still, instead of using the IP, we chose to use scening,
Yes.
right? So why we chose to use a scening? Any idea apart from what you're saying?
No, as far as my knowledge is that their CNAME is used for to change the URL name if we want to disclose some other URL. I
Hmm.
mean URL to URL mapping. So for that we use CNAME.
Hmm. Okay. So what is the full form of scening?
Canonical name.
Okay. Okay. All right. Fine. Okay. What is name server? Do you know what is name server?
Yeah, name server are the server which point to. I mean, if you want to host any particular application, and if you are taking domain from the outside, so we keep the domain. I mean, we have to map name servers. So which tell the traffic where to go. So in AWS, there are 4 name servers created for the backup purpose. So that's why
Hmm.
Route 53 has a zero downtime. Even
Mm.
if I mean 4 name servers will not fail in a single time. Such kind of coincidence cannot happen. So that's why we are using 4 name servers.
Right. Okay, good. All right. And okay, how many types of load balancers we have in AWS?
4.
Okay, what are they?
Application load balancer, network load balancer, classic load balancer, gateway load balancer.
Mm-hmm.
And this year, 15th of August, after 15th of August, we will not see the classic load balancer, and the
Mm-hmm.
classic network we will not see. That's the, I mean, earlier technology, and that will be terminated this year, 15th of August. As per,
What is the difference of between application load balance and a network load balancer?
so if our applications has, I mean, a bit of spikes and throws, and if it is distributed kind of an application, such as in the microservices, so and the traffic will be moderate or less. For that, we should use application load balancer. And if it is more of the HTTP and HTTPS based traffic, so for that we should use application load balancer. And if the uh, application is very tightly coupled and we want very less latency, and the throughput is I mean we need very high, so for that we should use the network load balancer for very less latency, and it will cover the application load balancer as well. So in application load balancer we can specify instance IP lambda, and in the network load balancer we can specify instance IP and the application load balancer.
Okay. Okay. So, all right. So, what is target group?
Target group is a group of EC2 instances which are associated with the load balancer, a particular
Okay.
target of EC2 instances.
All right. Okay. That's good. That's good. And all right. That's all. That's all that I have to ask. Do you have any question for me?
Yeah, no, not. You can tell about the project which I will have to enter.
It's okay. So The company that you are going to work with, it's the project that we are working. It's a power plant project.
Hmm.
The name of the company is Power Plant,
Hmm.
and we are managing their end-to-end infrastructure. So it will be the deployment of application, creation of RDS instances, and creating the infrastructure from end to end, both on AWS side and on Azure side.
Okay.
You have to write Terraform codes. You have to write simple scripts to automate stuffs using Python or using PowerShell. So you are familiar with Python and PowerShell?
No, I am planning to learn after I join somewhere. So in shell scripting, I am a bit of, but in Python and PowerShell, again, in
Hmm.
my cloud migration program, so we had a different system administrator. So he used to take
Hmm.
care about the PowerShell installations.
Okay. So right now we have everything automated.
Yes.
Either we are creating the infrastructure using the Terraform, or we are using creating the infrastructure using the PowerShell script. So if we give you the PowerShell script, will you be able to understand the PowerShell script?
I will have to learn first, and then I will be able. Because the person who was aligned to do the PowerShell installation back in my project, he also learned from the scratch only.
Mhm.
So in big companies, one person is restricted to a particular task only. So as a platform engineer, my task was to more to create the coding in the Terraform and create resources. And as soon as I completed those environments, a new application was given to me. So in 10 months, basically in total, I worked on 10 applications in which 5 were end-to-end migrations and 5 I did intermittently, which came from the other pods. So that was it.
Mm. All right. Okay. All right. No worries. Okay. That's good. All right, Aman. So one more question. Why are you wearing glasses? Google goggles.
So I have a number 0 0.5 and 0.75.
No, no, no. My question was black glasses in a room.
These are not black glasses. These are the number glasses.
Okay, I thought that it is like Google.
So
Yeah.
no. So actually, I bought these glasses because I have to
Mhm.
ride the two-wheeler with these glasses only. So to avoid the dust, I bought some big glasses.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yes.
but it is colored one, right?
No. In the video, it might seem it is a transparent glass only.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. I was wondering why you were wearing
No. It's
inside a.
it's a
Yeah.
simple number glass for V glass.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay. All right, Aman. Okay. Thank you for your time. So I will provide you feedback to HR, and she will get back to you on this. Okay.
okay. Thank you, sir. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Okay.